Hello everyone and welcome back to another HCW UK Indie preview, and as usual, something's gone wrong. It's the trademark of myself at the moment. So we did the review on preview, with Kumite on Monday. My audio was working fine. I watched some of the video back after the actual preview. My audio was there. Went to edit today and I have no audio. But it's nothing to do with the actual computer or anything like that because Fletch from Kumite we can still hear. So my audio's just somehow disappeared. OBS for the win. Anyway, so I'm going to try and make a makeshift video because I didn't really want to make Fletch come back on to because he was nice enough to do this in the first place. I don't want to force someone to come back on again. So I'm going to make a makeshift video. It's basically just going to be mainly him discussing each individual match, how Kumite came about. I'll try and do some voiceover work to kind of give you a bit more in context of what he's talking about, because otherwise, and then you're just going to see me on the screen in absolute silence, maybe doing this on the odd occasion. So, without further ado, I do apologise again to Kumite. I've emailed them today just to see if they, just to let them know the story, just so they're not like, what the hell's happening here? But without further ado, I guess, on to the preview! Yeah, so at the start of this, I pronounced it as Kumite Wrestling Academy.
Kumite.
Yep, so Kumite. I absolutely butchered this at this point, so my apologies.
Have you ever seen the film Bloodsport starring Jean-Claude Van Damme?
I believe I did watch Bloodsport. Except I watched it more recently, but I found out it was actually Kickboxer that I watched, so completely ignore that statement anyway. So we're basically going in to discuss the recent show that's going to be coming up at Vines Bar in Derby. I'm trying to base this around seeing what the responses is about to give, so I do apologise how butchered this is. As soon as we get properly into the video, it's pretty much I'll let him take it away.
I'm doing very well, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I was living the dream at this point. The place I work for at the moment is an absolute catastrophe, but we're trying as hard as we can, but I can't really announce what's going on. So yeah, I was just discussing here how Kumite came about.
Right, so as you say, we're called Kumite Combat Wrestling. We've been running for nearly 3 years. We're in our 3rd year now. So we started a while ago, and we've at our first show was a no-ring deathmatch show in a pot world on a dance floor. So we've just kind of evolved from there, and now we've become like a fully fledged show. You know, it's a show of 2 parts now. So you've got the first half, which is very much like a wrestling show, and it just kind of gets worse and worse until you're at the end where you've got full-on deathmatch happening. So yeah, it's kind of like a laxed rules show. I mean, anything can really happen from start to finish, but we tend to save the really hardcore stuff for last.
So firstly, up here, we're going to be discussing about Jason Joshua versus Joe Carden.
Right, so Joseph Cardinal, this will be his 3rd Kumite. So he's been with us. He's been with us for a while. Yeah, I mean, you can see his stuff on our show. He's an old hand in the Midlands. He's quite dependable veteran of the Midlands. So around our area, you will be familiar with him. Yeah. But and Jason Joshua's opponent, this will be his 2nd Kumite. He had a really impressive match against Voodoo Queen Amara our last show, and it was quite incredible. He's another one who wrestles in the Midlands. He wrestles a lot at Future. yeah. So you tend to excuse me. So you tend to see a lot of these guys that you'll see on our shows are guys like this who are really good, but there still is a bit of a territorial kind of thing. Like if you're from up north or down south and you come to our shows, you'll see people who are like this, who here we know and love them and we've known them for years. But I mean, this is one of those matches where I like it when people come to these shows and see these wrestlers for the first time, because when you've got something like a deathmatch show, it's very niche. So you end up getting an audience coming from all over, and our audience does come from all over England, Scotland, even Ireland. So this is a bit of a showcase of like East Midlands wrestling at its best, I think. So that's why that one's worth watching, I think.
Next up, we have locally sourced beef Rook versus Carl Kingsley. I butchered Rook's name.
Rourke. Well, Rourke is another one. He's the hometown guy in Derby. This will be his second Kumite as well. He is a long-time tag team partner of Joseph Cardinal, actually. So those two normally come together. We had them wrestle each other in a triple threat last time. Rourke is I think the best way to describe Rourke is 80s WCW, great big powerhouse of a man. He's really impressive, really impressive. He's a big guy. He's got a background in powerlifting, but he can also move. For a guy his size, is incredible. He's incredible in the ring to watch. Um, so he's our locally sourced beef, is what we call him. And yeah, definitely check it out. I'll be releasing some highlights if people want to check the socials, and I have added a little bit of what he did at our last time he was with us because it's so impressive. I think it's worth advertising what he's going to do at the next one. So he will be fighting Kyle Kingsley, who is, in my opinion, I think he's probably one of the best wrestlers in the country, in my opinion. So Kyle Kingsley, most people will know him from Future, and he is. I don't. It's the one. He's a member of a tag team called the East Midlands Breakers. He wrestles. He wrestles at Future. He runs Future Wrestling. Yeah, but you will have seen him all over the place. You would have seen him at Wrestle Carnival. You would have seen him just all over. Uh, I think he's a real veteran, a real veteran. He's real chain wrestling, power wrestling, just technical, all that kind of. He's that kind of epitome of like British style wrestling, if you will.
Act 2,
Mhm.
which I think it was Knudsen and Harland, and I was impressed that I remember their names.
You got it.
And they're facing off against a team called Money Mountain, which is a debuting team for him
Me
as well.
neither. There are newbies, so they are debuting with us. I mean, I've seen them wrestling in other places. Um, again, Future. We use a lot of people from Future, if you haven't realised. But we like I've seen a bit of them. They're quite new, but they're quite promising. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do, especially against a team like Act Two, who are absolutely on fire at the moment. They're absolutely on fire. So any match against Act Two is a good day, basically. But Money Mountain, so they consist of Sash, who is he's just released a promo for our upcoming show, and he's one thing I do know about him already is he has a mouth on him. So that's good for me. But yeah, he's also got his Greek giant by his side, and I haven't seen this guy in person yet, but he looks huge. He looks absolutely gigantic. Um, It's as soon as I saw some footage of him, I realized that's probably why you've got a guy like Sash who has quite a mouth on him, because I think anyone would if they had someone like him stood behind them. So again, like that's a thing I always like seeing Act Two go against is someone like that, someone built like a house, because we've kind of we've kind of always done that to Act Two. Unfortunately, we've always put them against really big dudes who will just throw them around. We like to put them against the odds because they are such a great team that it is really good to kind of put them in these situations where they've kind of got to figure their way around it and kind of just just kind of use that talent to kind of make this match to make it a good match, despite being always being outsized, outweighted, and all things like that.
So next up, we've got a match between Rado, Bula, which I think I butchered, I can't remember, Tombi, and the Voodoo Queen.
Radu Bulat.
Yep, so as usual, I probably did butcher that pre-recording.
Yes. Okay, right. So we have Radu Bulat, also known as the Romanian Brawler. This is his second Kumite as well. He was in that triple threat with Joseph Cardinal and Rook. So he's coming off a win from that, actually. So, yeah, he's yet to take a loss at Kumite. He is an interesting character. He normally he tends to carry around a fork, he just produces halfway through his matches. He's a bit of a goth. He's kind of like I don't know if he's kind of like if Gangrel did MMA, if you know what I mean. Yeah, yeah. So he's an exciting guy to watch. Definitely interested in seeing what he's going to do. Also, you have Tombi, the deathmatch slasher. So he's actually coming off a loss. He actually had a title match at our last show against Big Fucking Joe, which let me tell you, I think it's one of the most violent matches we've ever had. So well, he's had, I mean, most of the worst stuff that's happened at Kumite, he's been involved somehow. He's a pretty messed up dude. He will do anything. So it's always a good time when you've got him in the ring. He can literally do anything as well. I mean, we've had him do no ring coffin death match. We've had him run the ropes with Scotty Rourke. We've had him have like bare boards death match against Big Fucking Joe as well. Yeah, incredible wrestler, very scary bloke. And also we have the Voodoo Queen Amara, who is yet to be defeated. She's had this will be her third match at Kumite, and she's not been beaten yet. So she's probably, I guess, the favorite. Yeah, she's been really impressive in every match she's had. She's fought Jason Joshua. She fought Holly Harris in her debut. Um, another type of wrestler where you don't quite know what they're going to do in any match. You don't know what they're going to take hold of. You don't know where they're going to go. She always seems to wrestle all over the big and all over the venue whenever we book her. So the exciting thing about this match is you've got three people who are really, really unpredictable. So you know it's going to be really creative and really interesting, this match.
Was just discussing that if you look at the match graphic, it just looks like pure insanity from these three people, even if you have never seen them before.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're a vampire, they're a zombie, and they're a witch. So that's literally what we've got happening at the moment. And yeah, it's gonna be yeah, yeah. Screw it. Let's just do it. I love a good monster movie.
Yep, so up next we had Antonio Gonzalez, the deathmatch fuckboy versus Jack Bennett. Looks pretty good matchup, and here's his
So
thoughts now.
Jack Bennett, he's one that we've not had the pleasure of booking yet. So he's a new one, but he has been away in Japan, impressing people over there, doing deathmatch, and we kind of have positioned ourselves as as a promotion that is booking the new hot talent in deathmatch at the moment. So it just made sense to get him in and see what he can do against Antonio Gonzalez, who is on an absolute tear at the moment. He is one of the most impressive deathmatch wrestlers, well, especially amongst the new crop of deathmatch wrestlers. He is absolutely incredible. Um, the fact that he kind of started out his deathmatch journey here at Kumite is one of our proudest achievements because he's athletic as hell. He's as athletic as anyone you've ever seen, and also he is an absolute savage. So it's just the perfect mix. He'll do anything. So this will really be like a match of these two hot new young guys going at it in deathmatch. It's a really exciting one, that is. Well, yeah, this is the thing. When you get guys like this, they're young, they're hungry, and they're doing deathmatch. It's almost enough to make you a bit nervous because they will go for it.
So next up, we have the Open Challenge that Orton Thorn announced, and it was accepted by B.A. Rose, which I was really looking forward to because I do love
Yeah,
B.A.
yeah, he's
Rose.
he's incredible. I mean, Alton Thorne put that open challenge out there because he's another one who started his deathmatch journey here at Kumite. He was at the first ever Kumite deathmatch, where he had his first ever deathmatch on that dance floor at Pop World. So he started really he jumped in at the deep end when it comes to deathmatch because he had his first one as a triple threat against Big Fucking Joe and Danny Darko, two of the top deathmatch wrestlers. Yeah, yeah. Talk about baptism of fire. Yeah, I mean those two like they're not the kind of guys you go in at a death match unless you're serious about it because they will test your resolve. They'll test how much you want to become a deathmatch wrestler, and they did. And he got the seal of approval from both men. This man he's passionate and he's tough as hell. So he's on a mission now to just tick off all of these big names in deathmatch, and he's already wrestled, like I say, he's wrestled Big Joe, he's wrestled Danny Darko, he's wrestled Clint Margera, he wrestled against Gonzalez, he's wrestled all of the big names. So it only makes sense now for BA Rose to step in um, and wrestle him. It's something that people have been talking about as well. I think people I think BA Rose coming into it might have a lot to do with the fact that people were talking about like Alton Thorne and BA Rose. It just seems like such a good match because they're both really big, tough guys, and they're both just I don't, they're quite similar people. Like having met them both, they're very similar. So they're really going to put all of their heart into this one. So it's going to be really good.
And then to give a bit context to this, it was just how much of a monster match this was going to be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, they're both really stiff guys, so they are just going to beat each other in. Um, yeah, Alton Thorne as well. He's another one of these guys with something to prove as well, and he's going to want to prove it against the big names like BA Rose. So he's done some crazy stuff so far at Kumite. So it's another guy where it's like watch this space because he's looking to impress. He's looking to make a name for himself. So any match you see him in is definitely worth catching at the moment.
And finally, we come on to the main event, the match that kind of lured me to come into Kumite for the first time ever. We've got Lou Nixon, who is absolutely incredible, versus Big Fucking Joe.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a bouncer who's took his trousers off to have a fight. I mean, do you know what? I've never said it to him. I've never said it to his face. I've always thought that. I've always thought he's like Ram.
To give context, I called him Randy out of the Trailer Park Boys. I'd never say it to his
Yeah.
actual face.
I mean, when you come down, feel free to say it to his face because I haven't.
Yeah, there's no chance I'm saying this to Big fucking Joe's face because the man, look at him, he's gonna kill everyone. Good grief, no chance in hell. Text to this, I was just discussing. I've never seen a deathmatch wrestler get attacked so much within their legs, like the absolute bruises and cuts, and
Oh
it's
my
grim.
God, yes. I think the worst I've ever seen is when he. In fact, there's a documentary about this that's just been released on IWTV by the Deathmatch Outlaws, and what he did was he did a kids show, and then the next day he went to Liverpool and he had a death match there, and then he got in his car and he drove to Derby and he had that first match at Pop World with us. So he had two death matches in one day, essentially. And then what happened was he'd already cut his legs open when he walked in. Like he was covered in blood when he walked in. And then by the end of that match, you'll see on that documentary as well, he was squirting blood out of his knees. Well, yeah, yeah. It's like everyone who sees him, everyone says to him, what just begs him, please wear knee pads. But he won't. He won't because he's mad. He's absolutely mad. I don't know what to tell you. There's a reason why he's like the top deathmatch wrestler in the country, if not the world. He's the best at the moment, and that's why he's been our champion. He's been the Death Wolf champion the entire time we've been running because he's the best. He's just better than anyone else around at the moment. And what great. I mean, if there's anyone who can wrestle him, if there's anyone who can take him, though, it'd be Lou. Because I mean, if there's anyone who's really on fire at the moment, it's Joe, Lou, and Darko as well. Because they're the ones who are going abroad. They're the ones who people in the States are noticing now. Like they've followed Clint over to the States because they before I think Clint was one of the few that they'd heard of over in the States, but now they're hearing about these guys as well. And yeah, Joe is going places. Joe is a big name in deathmatch at the moment, which is why he's our champ. But yeah, Big Lou Nixon. I mean, I think he's probably one of the only pro wrestlers in the country at the moment who is also um, an active fighter in other combat sports because he does boxing and he does MMA, does Muay Thai. So he's the most legit guy in UK wrestling at the moment. He could genuinely beat the hell out of you if he wanted to. So yeah, it's going to be really nasty as well because they're not on great terms after Lou broke off from the Deathmatch Outlaws and BTT. So I'm expecting it to be quite a nasty one as well, which I like. So so yeah, we'll see how that goes. In fact, um, we had to do a show without our champion once, without Big Joe because Lou injured him. And Lou actually took his spot at that show with us. So there's a lot of beef. There's a lot of stuff to settle here. So it's going to be a really really vicious match.
Said here is pretty much, this is what you want from deathmatch, and you don't want a pretty match. You want an absolute chaotic blood fair.
Well, yeah, this is what I think. This is what I want. I mean, I'm all for putting like I don't know. There's kind of two kind of matches that will be good. I mean, there's one where you put like two guys who are like brothers against each other, and they will just go full force at each other, and they'll bring the absolute best out of each other. But then you've got two guys who absolutely despise each other. That's even better for me. I don't want the hug at the end. I don't want the shake hands. I want them to just die hating each other. Brilliant.
So as usual, all their information down below. I'm allowing to plug your socials
Yeah,
right now.
it's £20 on Eventbrite. You can also I mean, we'll keep an eye on the socials if you want to pay on the door in cash, because we'll let you know if we sell out. Also, it is probably a good idea to bring cash anyway because we've got merch tables and we also have a barbecue.
Oh yeah, as I said, everyone loves a
Yeah.
barbecue. There's merch table, there's beer. It's,
Oh, yeah.
it's going to be incredible. Like I'm just excited for
This is what
barbecue.
we like because it's in a beer garden. It's outside. The weather's normally quite good, and you've got a barbecue on, and we'll play some music, and there's the bar right behind you. Uh, a lot of what people say is really like a party festival atmosphere going on. Like it's the kind of show where the fans and the wrestlers just enjoy coming to it. I like because I think it's got a really good vibe to it. So I think you will enjoy it.
Now, this is normally a chance where we give the person who come on the show to show all their social medias. The one is on the screen, but anything else?
No, well, we've got the YouTube channel, as I say. If you want to check our stuff, the first ever match that we did, that one at Pop World, that's there in full. If you want a bit of a taster as what we do, there's also a couple of free matches on there, including Tombi, Antonio Gonzalez. Also, we've got official Kumite at official Kumite on the Instagram, Twitter. We're on Facebook as well, so we're covering all of the socials.
So as usual, like and subscribe to the channel. As I said, the videos are much better at this point. I thank Fletch for coming on, and if he's put up with this video going up like this, that's fine. If he wanted to re-record it, if he had chance, that's fine as well. Obviously, this is all on my end. I blame OBS. I always blame OBS, but who knows? But as usual, I will be there, so come check it out. Bye from Fletch,
Bye.
and bye from myself.